Guys, I wanted to make a little video here of more of some of my opinions, some more of a guides and advice. And I wanted to tell you my favourite, basically my top 3 of each role. So this is quite important because obviously you need a nice balance between characters and roles and everything along those lines. As you obviously know, it's important to have a tank, it's important to have a healer, it's important to have a damage type. Now, okay, yes, you could just make a team of 5 damage characters and probably be okay as well. But I wanted to kind of give you my opinion on my favourite tanks, my favourite damage classes, and I wanted you guys to also comment your favourites down below and let me know, so then I can kind of get a bit of a census of who's everyone's favourite. So I'm not necessarily just going to pick the ones that I have maxed out. I want to try and do it by who actually is the most OP. Kind of like if you were new to this game and you saw this video, these are the 3 of each class you should be working on. And I'm going to put it in order. So number 1 in tank, so the most important tank in the game. Now, of course, this is just my opinion, guys. Everyone's got different opinions, and it does always kind of depend on the rest of your team, but I'm doing this by kind of characters who can stand on their own, regardless of who else you have on your team. Now, my top one is Maximus. Without a doubt, Maximus. He's absolutely overpowered. He has so much health, armor, he heals himself, and his special obviously does normal damage. You're looking at like 3 million damage a hit of a special. So Maximus always gets a very good position in my eyes, guys. I've obviously started to upgrade his health discs here, just so I can just further increase his health as far as possible, because like I said, he is kind of my favourite in that sense, and his red skill is relatively good as well, which increases his max HP even further, which is hugely important if you can get a tank by one of his skills increases his max HP. So Maximus is my top 1 tank, and then this one will probably be a little bit controversial, but I like a tank who can heal. So this is quite a difficult choice between like Gerald or Winnie the Pooh, or I think Ham can now heal. Now, I haven't really used Ham, so I cannot really include him in. Oh, sorry, Ham's not a tank. Ignore that. So my second top character, which I think everybody should work on, is definitely Goofy. Now, I haven't got him up to an incredible level, and but he's just such a phenomenal character to start with, and mainly just because using him as a tank allows you to increase everyone's attack speed, and that is like one of the greatest things in this game is the attack speed boosts. So if you think about it here, you've got a tank who's going to take a lot of hits. He's also going to buff the entire team, which is fantastic, and it's a 10-second last as well. And he does a counter, he gains a shield, armor, so he can basically stay alive for a long time, and he's, you know, and he heals himself a little bit like Maximus. So I do have to put Goofy in my top 3. I do have to put him on number 2. Where I don't use him, I would fully recommend that everybody should. Now, I have obviously got him up to 6 stars, and I do occasionally use him, but he's not one of my main focuses. But he's a very good character, and he's definitely up there in kind of like the top tier of tanks. And then if I was going to pick number 3, this is where it's quite difficult, because Hades does need an honourable mention, but he's not as good as he used to be with, you know, just new characters coming out and stuff. Now, Hades does do really well in the Arena and Colosseum, and that's kind of where I'd recommend him. But yeah, that's kind of my opinion. Like, it's position 3 would definitely be between like Hades and then potentially like Winnie the Pooh, Gerald, or even Clawhauser, because they kind of do the same thing, where I like to have a tank that heals my entire team. And then the reason I like that is because then I don't need to put a medic in my team. So if I was going to sum up into top 3 guys, I'd say Maximus, Goofy, and then I probably would go Hades. Those would be the top 3 tanks that I recommend. So now if we knock down into damage is going to be a lot more difficult because they're relentless with releasing damage type characters. Like, they generally don't ever give you breathing room. So if I was to look at these characters, yes, I have Ducky and Bunny as number 1. Now, I wouldn't put Ducky and Bunny in the top 3. Just because I love him doesn't mean he's the best character. I always just work on characters that I like, and he happens just to be a character that I like with his laser. So, number 1, this is going to be very difficult, actually, to try and put this into 3, but that's what makes this interesting. So we have so many damage type characters, where I'm going to say this before I do this. Now, you have to remember that damage characters seem to be the characters that they release the most. So Wasabi is ridiculously overpowered because he shreds everyone's shields. Captain Amelia can be doing like 12 million damage a hit if you upgrade her right. Pleakley's bees can hit loads of people and do loads of damage, a little bit like Winnie the Pooh. Bunsen and Beaker's move with the endless clones is just outrageously overpowered. Scrooge McDuck, if you upgrade him correctly, the move where he brings up the coins and pulls them back is overpowered. King Louie with his bananas are overpowered if you upgrade them correctly. So you kind of see my point. It's very difficult for me to give you a top 3 to work on, but if I was, this would be my opinion. Now, I definitely say Mulan 100%. She is ideal for story mode, arena. She's basically ideal for everything. Her rocket move can kill an entire team straight away. Hands down, easy. Next, I'd say this is where it gets a little bit interesting here, because I can hands down say Mulan is one of the best damage type characters you need to work on. And now the rest become quite interesting. So I definitely say Randall is also a top 3. Okay, once again, he's not as good as he used to be, but he is a very, very good character. And that is because of his invisibility. Hands down, his invisibility is one of the most overpowered things with him, guys. So obviously you can see I've got his mods to a relatively good level. Nothing hugely amazing for his mods, but obviously then I can increase some of his skills. But this is what I mean. This is why I think he's one of the best damage type characters. Number 1, when you level him up, the Monster Punch move does so much damage. His special, where you choose someone and he goes pum pum pum, is nearly an instant kill. And when he dies, he goes invisible and comes back. So yeah, and obviously he goes invisible. So yes, Randall would be my number 2, guys, with ease. He's my number 2 in damage. And number 3 is very difficult, because I have always followed along Beast and just said Beast is a ridiculous character, but I want to jump away from Beast and I want to put Elsa into the top 3. Now, Elsa got a rework not too long ago, and it made her very, very, very overpowered, like ridiculously overpowered. So I do recommend Elsa for everyone. But with that being said, I would focus on Mulan before everything else. But yeah, it is quite important to have Elsa. She's fantastic for... I know she's a damage character, but she's good for controlling, freezing characters, doing loads of damage, just exploding everyone up. And she works really, really well, obviously, if you are fighting. If you do have more team characters, more freeze characters on your team. So those would be my top 3 damage characters for you guys. So now if we go into control, let's take a look. Support. So support, without a doubt, number 1 is Kermit. And that's just because of how ridiculous all of his moves are. So I'm not going to get into Kermit too much, because there's not too much I need to say. It's just hands down due to his skill where he does Rainbow Connect, and he moves the frontmost buff onto every single ally. So he makes everybody invincible, gives everyone a shield, gives everyone an attack boost, gives everyone attack speed. Ridiculous. That's hands down. And obviously he heals, and he doesn't do any damage, which is nice. He focuses solely on healing. That's why I recommend Kermit. And now this is where it gets a little bit interesting, because I haven't dabbled in too many control heroes here. So once again, this is obviously my opinion, guys. I do want to give Joy an honourable mention for the top 3. Now, I've seen a lot of people... Jai has actually messaged me about his Joy, which has kind of made me think, and I've seen a lot of people talk about Joy. And that really does make me think that Joy probably is one of the greatest healers in the game. So if I was giving this a list to somebody who's starting off the game new, I would definitely tell you to work on Joy, guys. With ease, I tell you to work on Joy. So that would be a recommendation. And I think I will actually upgrade Joy to a good level, but yeah, I'd say Joy, her healing's fantastic. And then if I was to give you one more, this is where it gets quite difficult. Because I do like Yax, I do like Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse isn't as good now due to Kermit, but I do have to give Animal an honourable mention, guys. His, mainly just for his attack speed, and his special is really good as well. Everyone gets 100% attack speed. He sends out a shockwave which knocks people back. He heals himself, so I do have to give Animal an honourable mention up for the top 3 there as well, guys. So, and then we knock into Control. Now, Controls I've said this about all of them. There are just so many good characters scattered across this game, but I'm trying to give you guys a little bit of tips and tricks to if you are new or you just want to grab a new character. So I would fully recommend working on the control types. So Ian, 100% number 1. His lightning move and firework move is a game over. Cheshire Cat, 100% number 2. His move where he goes invisible and jumps on his head, everybody dies straight away. You mix Ian and Cheshire Cat together with a good tank, with a good support character, mental. Absolutely mental. So if I was to give you a number 3, now I want to give Basil an honourable mention. A lot of people say Basil is trash. I disagree. His move is phenomenal where he throws the darts. It can shut down an entire team. But I do agree that it is difficult to keep him alive. But I do have to say Basil is definitely up there. So if I was to give you my number 3 now, and this is where it's quite difficult because I've never really used many control type heroes. So I would have to probably say Powerline is definitely up there. I fully recommend everybody works on Powerline when he comes into the arena a little bit late, which is good, and then he explodes, his special hits everybody. Powerline is very, very good, and I would recommend him to everybody as well. So he'd probably sit in my top 3 there, guys. I do need to give an honourable mention to Davy Jones. His move with his trunk is fantastic. I also do need to give an honourable mention to Mad Hatter as well, because you can see him doing loads of damage, and an honourable mention to Jafar because his tornado move used to be OP. But if you want my top 3 again, it's Ian, Cheshire Cat, and Powerline in control. So guys, this is just because I was asked by a few people to do some tier lists. I thought I'd do it a little bit more useful, where I can give you my top 3 favourite characters for each tier basically, and then if you need to, guys, go and work on those characters and you will not be disappointed. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it. It's a bit of a different type of video, more advice. Let me know if you guys want me to break down anything else in this game. Please comment, smash that like button, and I'll see you beautiful people in the next one.